Hello, Pirate Dave here. It is another new comic book day. It's August 19th, 2026. Let's get right into it with some comic books. You can see my nice purple background there. That's a new one to go with the purple hero himself, the Phantom, the Ghost Who Walks. This is the Phantom versus the Singh Brotherhood #1. It is the third one-shot that Mad Cave has done for the Phantom, and this all follows the mini that they did for the Phantom as well last year. We did get confirmation from the artist Russell Olson. He did a interview with chroniclechamber.com on one of their podcasts. He did confirm that the one-shots were supposed to be the first story arcs for the Phantom. So this was supposed to be 20 issues or so for the Phantom that was truncated into just 3. That is very unfortunate, of course, but the character just doesn't catch popularity in the US, and maybe the sales were not there. The writer of this is Ray Fawkes, and artist, as mentioned, is Russell Olson, and colorist is Wancho. And the Singh Brotherhood, for those not in the know, were the very first antagonists for the Phantom way back in 1936. And for those who don't know the Phantom, he is the Ghost Who Walks. He's the transitionary hero between classic pulp heroes and superheroes of today. His tight-fitting costume, he was the first superhero to wear tights. He was the first superhero to have no pupils and a mask as well. And he has a lot of those tropes that we associate with modern superheroes, such as his secret lair in the Skull Cave and his animal companion, Devil. So far in the story, the Phantom has been responding to an attack, ironically, by the Singh Brotherhood in the first Mad Cave mini. A drug plane had gone down near a Bengalan village of the Bandar, and that just simply put the Bandar in harm's way. They didn't do anything to incur the wrath of the Singh Brotherhood, and that's sort of the moral of the story here. I wish we got the Phantom first. We can see the Phantom here. Here we go. Just wanted to get a little bit of him, and we're really getting that prison yard. Not to give away the ending of that first story arc, but of course, as one might have mentioned, the Phantom did bring the Singh Brotherhood to justice at the end of that story, but we are seeing the return of the Singh Brotherhood in this next one shot. Up next is Lobo versus the Tooth Fairy. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure Lobo has fought the Tooth Fairy before. It's probably one of his classic stories from the 90s, but I don't quite remember that one. It's not as memorable as his battle against Santa in the paramilitary Christmas special, right? This is a series that's being written by Scotty Young, not drawn by Scotty Young, interestingly enough. And this particular issue, normally the series has been drawn by Jorge Corona, I believe, but this issue is being drawn by, I believe it's Robbie Rossmo. Let's see if we can. The credits are on one of the last pages, but I don't want to give anything away here. Riley Rossmo is doing the art, and colors are by Jean-Francois Beaulieu. I feel like I nailed that. I feel like I nailed that name. And of course, in this Lobo series, he's coming off of an appearance with Supergirl, a little cameo there in the last issue, and then the crossover in the Supergirl special. But so far, the plot of the mini has been him involved in a sort of contract dispute with an entertainment company that has bought out all the bounties in the universe. And so it's, kind of Lobo selling out, because he has to be. He got a reality show that predictably did not go as well as it could have. The art by Riley Rossmo here is pretty good. Oh, look at that. Who's that in the back there? A lot of, sorry to give it away, a lot of cameos there. So if you're fans of these characters, maybe pick up this series. I'm sorry, I forgot exactly what I was saying, but Lobo versus the Tooth Fairy, I have been enjoying the Lobo series thus far. It is harkening back to the early 90s style of Lobo. So it is very irreverent, very fun, of course. Up next is Redcoat number 19. This is they're on a story arc that's taking place in 1909. Redcoat has a family. He has a wife that he loves and some kids. I'm not sure if they're his kids, but they're children that he loves, so it's not really important whether they're his or not, right? And this is a series that's being created by Jeff Johns and Brian Hitch. I assume being written by both and penciled by Brian Hitch. And you can see the inkers there, Andrew Curry and Brian Hitch. And the color artist is Brad Anderson. And of course, that sort of deep creator pool is necessary because the art is so exact, so fine. And really what's happening with the entire Ghost Machine label right now is excellence in writing, excellence in illustration. Even if even if it doesn't come across that way, even if you don't agree that you don't think it's the best thing ever, they're certainly striving for that, right? I don't think you can look at these pages and say that Ghost Machine is slacking in any department, even if it's not necessarily landing for you. And you can see young Albert Einstein there. I gotta say that normally I do enjoy I do enjoy reading like German accents and dialogue, but it gets a little bit on my nerves with Redcoat and Albert Einstein's dialogue. Of course, the first story arc had a ton of it, and we see an older Albert Einstein, but not quite so old now in this 1909 setting. Up next is G.I. Joe number 25. This is the Energon Universe G.I. Joe. I always make it a point to establish that. And as you can see from the cover, we get a little bit of a spoiler right on the cover. Night Force Part 1 of 5. We have seen a little bit of Night Force in this G.I. Joe series so far, but they have not clashed with the Joes just yet. They're their own sort of covert operative group. The writer of this, of course, is Joshua Williamson, and Tom Riley looks like he's also getting writing credit as well. Oh no, I'm sorry. Tom Riley and Andrea Milana are getting artist credits, and Lee Lawfridge is getting the colorist credit there. The art style in this, I mean, it's great. It's solid, and the real kick of it is getting all that machinery right. You can see a little op action there, Gatling gun. G.I. Joe has always had this standard of being very military accurate. And that's it's a little odd to say in a book that's going to include some crossover with the Transformers, of course. But that doesn't mean that, for the elements that we do maintain some real world analogies with, that we can't try to maintain that integrity. And you can already see Night Force there with Flint. You see Beachhead there on top, and looks like they are colliding with some robots here. And they yes, okay, sorry, it's a little confusing. They are technically already a part of Joe's, but I don't know that the larger Joe team knows of their existence, so I think they're going to be introduced to them now. But correct me if I'm wrong there. It looks like we're getting a nice big recap spread on this. Look at that. It's so colorful, and I'm sure it's very orienting. Is that a word? Orienting? Yes, I'm sure that's a word. So if you've not been reading G.I. Joe Energon Universe and you want to join in on the fun, G.I. Joe number 25, Night Force Part 1 of 5 looks like it's going to orient you just fine. Maybe consider picking that up. Up next, we have M1 Monster Racing League. And I was talking to the employees at my local comic shop, and they were expressing a great interest in this series. They were really intrigued by it. And of course, the art from Jay Lee is doing the heavy lifting there. It's just a wonderfully beautiful book to look at. And you can see why. They mentioned they were leafing through this issue and they saw the monsters and they were asking, what exactly is the deal? Are they actual monsters and all that? The story is being written by Lily Wyndham and Robert Wyndham. And of course, the art, as mentioned, is by Jay Lee, and color is by June Chung. Ryuki wins! Roar! What the? Looks like even the crowd doesn't really know what's going on with the monsters. This series has been very much like Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift up until this point. A very truncated version of it, right? It's only on issue number 3 here, and so it's not like it's not like it's going through the whole movie. But the premise is very much like that. We get the uh, gaijin main character there, the foreigner in Japan that is joining the local racing scene, and it looks like she lost for the first time at the beginning of this issue, and she's dealing with that. Life is so hard, of course, and I'm saying that mockingly, but she is in a pretty tough situation. She's an American girl, and she loved her life in America, and her father kind of took her to Japan, and she wasn't completely down with that. So if that sort of fish out of water kind of setting interests you, it's not like she has a problem acclimating, clearly, because she's a really good racer, but it looks like she's going to be having some trouble with those monsters who are just better racers. Up next is Junk Punch number 3 as well from Mad Cave, and this is such a this is such a fun series. Of course, this is being written by Paul Tobin, and the artists are Carlos Javier Olivares and Christine Larson. Looks like she's the artist for the backup issue, art and colors, and the colorist of the main issue is Francesca Vivaldi. And as I've mentioned before, Junk Punch has the main protagonist here is a sort of crack pixie main protagonist. She's very much like Tank Girl. The setting is very much a cyberpunk setting, and everything is kind of crazy. The premise of the story is that people have developed ticks due to a pollution event, and those ticks cause them to do very specific things, jump up and down whenever they see a bunny rabbit, or whistle loudly whenever they hear water drop. And in the case of our protagonist, who I believe her name is Clara Castanoli, I think. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I'm getting that last name right. In the case of our protagonist, she just has a compulsion to punch people in the junk, but she uses this compulsion for good, or whenever she's drunk, or whenever it's funny to her. She's a very fun character, and doesn't take anything seriously, really. We don't actually have a whole lot of straight-laced characters in this book, to be honest. There isn't an anchor there that's the person that's completely normal and is just wondering why everybody's so psychotic. It's really, they just really live in a psychotic world, kind of like Grand Theft Auto, right, where everybody's just dialed up to 11. Very fun, very colorful book as well, if you are a big fan of that sort of aesthetic. And lastly, for our floppies is Altered State Warlords number 3. I have a lot of number 3s this week. That's very interesting. You can see from the cover there, that's a Linsner cover, and that is Tarzan. One of the few times I think that Linsner is drawing beefcakes today. I had the option of either one of these beefcake covers, or I could get the cosplay Vampirella cover. As a Vampirella fan, it is questionable why I did not get the cosplay cover, but I just didn't want to go for the cosplay cover. I wanted to go for the cover that was representative of what we'll read in the issue, which is most likely Tarzan's appearance. The writer of this is David Avallone. Artist is Mariano Benitez Chapo, and colorist is Jorge Sutil. And just to give away a little bit from this last issue, and it looks like Red Sonja has awoken, and you can see Deja Thoris there in the background. Meanwhile, we see back on Earth, planet Earth, 1930s, somewhere in Persia. We can see somebody is being attacked by one of the white apes of Barsoom. What are they doing on Earth? Oh no, bzz, look at that. Oh, and it looks like they're being transported to Barsoom as well. I assume this is Tarzan. I don't know why he's not a complete jungle creature. Maybe it's later on in his story when he becomes civilized and grown up. I mean, he is clearly an adult in this, so he's probably already met Jane and sort of civilized. But to be honest, that's a cursory knowledge of Tarzan that I have. I'm not exactly sure if if his lore is vastly different than that. Sorry, you might not see anything on the screen for a bit there. I wanted to do something very fun, and I wanted to unbox my comic shop order, and I wanted to show you this real quick. See how much information we can get on the screen here. And you can see from Lone Star Comics, and Lone Star Comics is the comic shop associated with my comic shop. I'm guessing it is their physical location. It's what my comic shop started as. This is all just assumption. And of course, as they grew an online identity, they decided to maybe transition to a more recognizable name. Are those all logical assumptions? Perhaps I should have cut open this box to begin with, but I did want to show you very faithfully, what you get when you order from my comic shop. So when you order, you get this box, and I ordered about 4 or 5 trades, maybe 6, and you could see the box was taped with packaging tape. This is not going well at all. Taped with packaging tape, and then once you cut open that tape, you can see the packaging, of course, that they use. I had to have to adjust my little background there. Sorry about that. Real quick, and you can see all the trades are packaged in one bag together, but they're also in separate bags, if that makes sense, right? So I just wanted to show unboxing the box. You see it's a very considerately packaged. They have these little phones here on the corners. They really keep their stack of comics right there in the middle. And you get this box that, is infinitely reusable, right? You just fold it on down and use it for anything. You get this nice big bag with all of your contents. And there's your trades. And we can see here, and we can see the prices I paid for these real quick. You take a look at this. These are for trades. These are for actual trades in fairly good condition. What is going on here? Focus. I'm very sorry. This camera does not want to focus on. Okay, there we go. Sorry. You can see the price I paid for these trades here. This has been a disaster. I'm sorry. $2.90, $2.90, $2.90, $2.90, $8.90, $6.90, $2.90. Those $8.90s and those $6.90s are the books that I wanted to order from my comic shop, is what I went there exactly to order. And then the other ones were just add-ons. I just sort of rounded off the price to, I believe I kept it to about $30. I guess we could do quick math there. $9 plus $7 is 16, 3 is 19, 3 is 22, 3 is 25, 3 is 28, a little over $30. And then shipping is $9.10. So in total, I paid just under $40 with this, $39.10. I got Galaxion. This was one of the $2.90 books. And these aren't going to be the most impressive of titles, of course. I go for really sort of oddball titles. I like trying new things, especially for only $3, man. My comic shop has a general grading that they do. They called this near mint. So, and you can see it's in really great condition. I love the spot foil on that cover there. Really great condition. $3. And who knows, maybe the book will be very much like $3. But it actually looks a lot like Wandering Star, a series that I absolutely enjoyed, that I also tried from my comic shop. And you see the next one there. I want to save that one for later because that's part of the part of the reason why I ordered this. Next we have Clueless, One Last Summer. This is a graphic novel based on the movie. I am a 90s kid, of course. Well, I was born in the 80s, but I grew up in the 90s, really. And I was a big fan of Clueless. So it is just fun seeing a graphic novel for Clueless as well. And again, this is one of the $3 trades that I picked up. So you see fun titles like this, you know. So if you can imagine a graphic novel for an old movie that you enjoyed, you know, it's just wild. I'm sure it'll be a fun time. I'm sure it's not going to set the world on fire either. I'm not expecting to find some you know hidden gems necessarily, but sometimes I do. Up next, as you can see from the top, there is Lady Death, and this is very good condition, and you can see some of the spine ticks there that certainly indicate that it is less than near mint. I don't know much about Lady Death, but hey, again, for $3, just to sort of check out what's going on with this character, and the art is nice. I love that sort of shading that you get from there, that depth shading, and of course the beautiful female forms are awesome as well. I am a fan of that. That right there, I'm a fan of that. Very cool. I'm just sort of jamming right through these. Hopefully that's fine. You can see the next one there, Hawkman. We'll get to that in a second. And this is Baggy Wrinkles, a lover's guide to life at sea, in very fine condition. But you know, this is what I wanted to get to, because my comic shop will say very fine, but you know, this is in. I mean, this looks great. Doesn't look like there's any reason why this should be very fine. It's probably near mint, but I think they, for these lesser books that they, you know, don't spend a whole lot of time in inspecting, they just sort of slap very good on there and just sort of let you let you be surprised, which is it's a nice little surprise. This is going to be a more, I'm guessing, young adult book. Of course, I'm not even a young adult. It's going to be like a sort of teen, preteen sort of graphic novel. But hey, you know, it's a pirate book for $3. I think it'll be, again, a fun experience. And flip over that last book, because again, I just want to have those be a little surprise. Next is Michael Moorcock's Hawk Moon. Again, for $3. Just very cool stuff. This is definitely in less than near mint condition, as you can see, but it's an older trade. I mean, and how many trades do you see from this? You know, let's see if we can even get an indica to see, you know, when this was printed in. There's no indica in the front. Let's see if there's an indica on the back here. I'm guessing not. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing to say when this was printed. You can check the League of Comic Geeks First Publishing Hawk Moon for. I'm sorry, the publisher is called First Publishing. So for Hawk Moon, if you're interested, Jewel in the Skull, adapted by Jerry Conway and Raphael Kayanin. And let's just sort of flip through here. Yeah, look at that art. Again, for $3. I'm down to, you know, have an experience and just check this out, and hopefully be amazed, and hopefully question, like, why was this only $3? Why don't people talk about Hawk Moon? I'm not betting that that's going to be my experience, but you know, who knows? Even if one out of 1,000 um, result in that, you know, I personally, I think it's worth it. Lastly, I did want to show why I picked up this. We have Telos, Kindred Spirits. To be honest, this was inspired from um, the Image Comics event that's going on for League of Comic Geeks, you know, for the badge progress. These are high fantasy books, I believe, is what they qualify it as. And I was just looking at some of the images online for them, and it just looks crazy interesting. It reminds me of like a PlayStation 2 game, a PlayStation 2 high fantasy game. We can see some credits there. Todd DeZago and Mike Wieringo were the story writers there. Artist is Mike Wieringo, and then writer is Todd DeZongo. So I guess the story writers and then the actual writer. And then we can see some of the inkers and colorists there as well. And let's just sort of flip through here. there are a fair few of different Telos series, so it doesn't stop at these two books. These are just the introduction books as far as I can stand. But you see what I mean? And not even just like a PlayStation 2 RPG, because it does remind me of like Dark Cloud and things like that. But even like a even like an SNES RPG, because I'm getting like I'm getting kind of Chrono Trigger with that frog guy there. And ooh la la, of course, pirate ladies. This just looks super fun. This looks super fun. I'm down to check out Tellus, but this is more to qualify for the Image Comics High Fantasy badge. Hopefully that's worth it, right? 25 minutes into the video. I don't believe people are watching these videos for crazy good suggestions like that. I don't believe anybody's watching these videos, to be honest. I kind of just make them as a reference material, because I actually go in there and I'll use the AI ask function on the YouTube videos to see like, oh, what did I say here, or what was this about, or what were my impressions of this when I first saw it, if I really want to know anything that I said in these videos. So I don't mean that to be impersonal. I hope if anybody is watching this, they do enjoy what I'm doing here. But I just wanted to make it, just wanted to make it clear that that's also something you can do. Sort of keep a video log and then access it with really great fidelity by using uh, YouTube's own ask functions. It works very well. I've tried it on my Phantom review videos, and I've enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching. I was Pirate Dave. I hope you have a great week ahead of you. And if you are watching, I hope you watch again next week and you just have a good time and a chill time with these videos. That's really the other reason I make them. Somebody can just put them on in the background and just sort of zone out. If that's you zoning out, I hope you hear at least this much. Have a great day. Bye.